There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin. Brachelle is here, and there she is. And let me make a Lynn sandwich here and put her in the middle of our little discussion. And Brachelle, how are you today?
I'm doing so good, Kevin. We've talked to some amazing people, and we get to continue to do it. So I am going to let you introduce our next guest.
I have to tell you, I was a sales manager for a long time, and I've worked in sales, but there was a question that Lynn asks and is a core foundation of her business, which is called petite2queen.com. Go there, and you can find out all about her. But the question I never asked anybody, because, a lot of people say, oh, I can't sell. I'm not a salesperson. But I never asked a guy that was coming in to be a salesman. I said, so what are you passionate about? And if they didn't say, well, I'm passionate about serving people, then I should have said, had I asked that question, I would have said, well, thank you very much for coming in. Have a nice day. Because that's what sales is. At its fundamental basis, it's serving people. And it's not about selling stuff that people don't want to buy. It's about making the right fit for them so that they can use it in their business and their entrepreneurship and all of that. And Lynn Whitbeck is the queen of sales. And welcome to the show, young lady. It's so nice to see you.
Well, Kevin and Brachelle, it's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course.
Well, I can only tell you that there is everybody in the world that I talk to on a regular basis says, oh, I can't sell. I'm not a natural born salesperson. But that's not what it's all about, is it, Lynn?
No, I mean, sales is all about helping and serving so that you can create lasting impact for your clients. And, whether that's in their business, whether it's with their team, in their community, in their life. And for me, that has always been what fills me up, is really providing that solution, taking something off their plate they never have to think about again, and taking care of them. And when you approach sales with that worthy intent, where you truly desire to help and serve, oh my goodness, sales suddenly becomes joyful and so fulfilling because of the difference that you're making.
And it also does a couple of things for you, and one of which is some sales guys think, well, the sale is done, I'm done. I'm going to move on. But if you are a service-oriented salesperson, then your job with your customer is never done. And what that means is they don't ever want to leave you because you're taking care of their needs. And they appreciate that. Isn't that the fundamental core element of sales that a lot of people miss?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to... In sales, when you are taking care of your clients, even if they have something where they do it for a short period of time and they're sort of done, they still become your raving fans. They're going to provide you with introductions, referrals. They may provide you with a platform. They may be providing you with the opportunity for other ways to interact. And that is because of the relationship that you've built. And sales, to have that continuing cycle of really strong client relationships, that means not only do you retain your clients, but you grow that client base because of that, the clients that you've served and how they're now giving you even more.
And Rochelle, you've been in sales, you've been in car sales, and you worked with Amazon, and you're dabbling in real estate, and all of those things are relationship builders, aren't they?
Yeah, I think honestly, everything that we do is sales. And when I worked at Subway, we had a sale for something. When I worked at Payless, there was a sale, Victoria's Secret and the tanning salon and all these other places. And then when I got into car dealership experience specifically is what made me realize we're not doing this for the people. Like a lot of other places you do go, it is for the people. And that is such a good thing to be able to pay attention to the difference. And not only does it help you yourself to learn those things, but also for other people to navigate. Because if I walk into a car dealership, I'm probably their worst nightmare because I know how it runs. And so, but to be able to teach these things and offer something that could really change somebody's life, which is why I loved selling cars, because that is like one of the most important things that we have here in our world. But something that makes a difference. And if you realize that you're really good at selling stuff and you're really good at business and you're really good at understanding it, but you hate what you do, go sell something else. And I'm sure maybe you help some people with that, right, Lynn?
Yeah. No, you have to absolutely love your product or service, and the company that you work for.
Yeah.
Because if there is not an alignment there, you're not going to be able to perform at your best level because
Yeah.
there's always going to be things that hold you back. So that has to be in place, and really to be that high level performing salesperson who has really high integrity and ethics. That means that you have to work for a company that shares those core values, that your products and services meet those same core values, and then you're going to build those relationships with clients who share those core values. And that is what makes sales such an amazing career, is when you have that alignment.
And I have to ask you before I forget, Kevin, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I've heard a lot of people assume that if somebody is good at being a salesman, they're a good leader. Do you agree with that? Because I kind of don't in some ways.
So I'm going to say this, certainly from a woman's perspective, having sales training, whether you work a day in sales or not, it's going to really help your career trajectory, because you learn how to negotiate, you learn how to flex your style, learn with all kinds of different people, you learn how to communicate, you learn how to ask for what you want. You really need to understand like your deal points. And when you do that, you're going to be more effective, not only with your work, your team, but with your supervisors, your boss. But
Right.
with that said, to answer your direct question, so sales people are not naturally great leaders, because we've all encountered them. The salespeople are just in it for themselves. You are just another notch on their lipstick case or on their belt, and they couldn't give a darn about you. Once they close that sale, they're gone. So, however, I would say the flip side of that is that those sales champions, the ones that really, they actually are in it for you, because they want to serve, they want to help you grow, they want to create that lasting impact. They are leaders, because now they are at a completely operating at a different level, because they are really looking out. They're managing a lot of things for you. They're thinking on their feet. They're assessing risk potentials for their clients. They are really thinking strategically about what's going to matter to them, what's the best decision in the long run. So they're really managing the entire experience that their client is going to have with them. And they're giving them that 5-star experience. I believe that those people are leaders.
I agree.
And I was both a salesperson and a sales manager. And but you are right. You have to be in alignment with the company and the company's motives and goals that you're working with. And let me give you an example of that, why I left the food business. We had in the food business, you've got a set price of what you cannot sell below, but you can sell it for more. And then you make a commission on what you make above that. I had to give it up because the way the system worked was somebody that was savvy to how that process worked. They'd line up 3 food companies and they'd say, what's your price? What's your price? What's your price? So in order to get the business, you give them the very best price that you can. Now, fast forward to the next call that you go on, and it's the mom and pop restaurant. And you walk in the door and the mom says, hey, come sit, have some soup, and let's sit and chat for a little bit. And then you're the only company that's in that business. And so consequently, they trust you. And so your boss comes back to you and says, you're not making any margin on this big hoity-toity company, so you need to make your margins on the mom and pop. So you raised your prices on the mom and pop, knowing that they're never going to question you because they trust you. And because they trust you, you raise your prices to them to satisfy your boss. And sometimes that forces that company out of business. And I couldn't take not being able to serve people genuinely with integrity and honesty, because the best salespeople were not honest with the people that they worked with. Lynn, did I make the right decision to leave that business, or could I have made it work better?
Well, first of all, I would say that the best sales people are going to be ethical, and they would have walked. And they would have found a company that aligned with their core values. The best salespeople do operate from a space of integrity. Your reputation, it takes a lifetime to build, and you can destroy it in 5 minutes or less, 5 seconds these days. So A, you made the right decision. And B, I believe that the best salespeople and businesses operate at a level of integrity. And that it just stands the test of time long term. And when you take advantage of people, you are literally putting poison in the well. And every day you're dropping more poison in that well. Eventually, it's overflowing.
You know, and there was a guy that worked for me at one point, and what he did was he would show his pricing to the customer and says, this is your pricing, and it's going to have to be 10% above that or 5% or whatever he needed. And then the customer could choose what they wanted to do. And that was the way that he operated with integrity within that system, which is designed specifically to be non-integrity minded. Yeah. And stuff. So that taught me a valuable lesson. And so I never wanted to do that again, because I value my customers. I didn't want to cheat them, and I wanted to be honest and have integrity with them. And that is an important aspect, because you're right. Your reputation is all you've got.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and when you operate from that level of transparency, it's like, okay, this is the bottom level price, and I will make money. This is where I am paid to service you, to manage everything, to make sure everything is delivered on time, to be watching out for you. And so this is the fee for that. I mean, that's really transparent, and that way people understand, okay, well, I'm paying this extra amount because of the service that I'm going to receive, and that I've got someone who's my advocate. They're going to be watching my back. And so therefore, yeah, that makes sense. I like that approach.
Absolutely. And Brachelle, would you tell everybody where they can find Lynn Whitbeck's website?
Yes. Petite2queen.com, and that is the number 2, petite2queen.com. And she's got ways that you can work with her, praise, sales videos, all the things that they've done, making your sales naturally joyful, result focused, and scalable. And I've got a really good question for you when we come back, Lynn. So I'll let Kevin take us to our first break.
And I just want to make sure if somebody's listening to this, this is a live show and it's being done in November of 25, but it stays up forever. So if you're listening to this episode later than that, there may be a new website to reference. Would that not be true, Lynn?
Yeah, that's gonna be, well, it'll be a redirect, so nobody, it's gonna be pretty easy. No, but you can still go forever to petitetoqueen.com. But yeah, that's in the works.
And what's that one called?
The new business name is going to be Strategic Sales Queen. So obviously it's just a little bit clear about what the heck we do.
And I love that. And we need to take this quick break, and we'll be right back right after this. And Brachelle, I want to ask you, because there are people that would die for love. But what about if you were to live for love? Here is another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. The world is full of people who would die for someone they love. But what about living for them? Waking up early to take care of your health. Letting go of the habits that steal your years. Choosing rest instead of running yourself empty. The truth is, your family doesn't want a hero who dies for them. They want a parent who stays. A friend who grows old with them. A soul who chooses life every single day. Don't just die for love. Live for it. And welcome back, everybody. Brachelle's here. And did I say Brachelle was here? And Lynn Whitbeck is here as well. And she has got a company, and she helps entrepreneurs and companies. Like, as an example, if you're a sales manager and you've got 11 reports like I had when I was a sales manager, and they've got different levels of skills, and some of them were good, some of them were not so good, it would behoove you to bring in Lynn and her team and help you get everybody focused on what was really important, which is service to the customer, and to make that work. Would that be true, Lynn?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the most important things you can do in any business is how do you keep growing your business, and that's sales. Let's be honest, if you don't sell it, how are you going to stay in business? No matter what you do, short of having loads of cash that you can just burn. So your sales, having that consistent, repeatable, and scalable sales process is absolutely critical for the foundation to grow your business and be able to bring what your products and services out to the world to really help more people and create that impact.
Because even if you got a load of cash, one day you won't. If you don't have good sales. Brachelle, you had a question and you seemed excited about it.
Yes. So one thing that popped into my mind, Lynn, is I've heard the saying, there's healthy and there's toxic manipulation in sales. What do you think about that?
So, yes. So I don't ever use the word manipulation in my sales. Of course, I have been manipulated before. So I think many of us have. There's a difference, and that is your intention. And are you approaching this with good intention? When I've had a client who's going to do something that I don't think is a good idea, I will tell them about it, because it's like I do frame that I'm coming at this from a place of good intention.
Yep.
And so sometimes people can start chasing the shiny objects. They can get stuck in the weeds and they get distracted very easily. Sort of like watching yet another cat video on YouTube. But the whole point, really, when you're looking at a sales strategy, is to have that blueprint that's really going to lift the company and get it to another level. And so, yes, sometimes there's opportunities that will arise that, okay, we do need to go ahead and go down this road, but sometimes they're simply a distraction. And there's real strength in being able to recognize and to say no with grace, so you can stay on track and say yes and actually execute and put in motion the things that are really going to move you forward and build your business. And be able to help and serve more clients. So I think
love
what you're saying is that if you're coming at it from a good intent, that's not manipulation.
Yep.
If,
That's
however,
exactly what I wanted to hear you say.
there you go. Hey, I answered it. Yay!
You are darn near perfect in every way, just like Mary Poppins. And there are people out there that are going, oh no, I'm not a born salesman, and I'm using your formula. There's no such thing as a born salesman, and if you choose to be of service rather than making the sale, I'm going to make the sale and I'm going to conquest this. If you're going to be of service, then anybody can sell. Would that be right?
Oh, absolutely. Doesn't matter your personality type. Really, it's all about, you do have to sell from your authentic self. So I'm naturally cheerful, and if that repels people, that's okay. Because that means that they're not for me. Because it's a big world and there's enough for all of us. So one of the things is that you really do have to show up as your originally authentic self. And if you're really serious and buttoned down, you're going to attract those people, right? And you're going to be able to work successfully with them. So one of the things that it doesn't matter if you're an introvert, doesn't matter if you're an extrovert. I'm sort of one of those, I think they call them omniverts. I'm in between. And so you'd say, oh, wait, I don't believe that. You look like you're an extrovert. Well, I'm really natural and really comfortable in my own skin. Okay. So the number one thing I can say is you've got to be our authentic self. Now more than ever, people want that human connection and that humanness. And if this is who you are, show up as who you are. You're going to attract the people, that tribe, that vibe, right? So don't try to be something you're not. What happens then is you destroy people's trust, because eventually you can't keep faking it. And you have really high BS meters these days. And so being your authentic self and leaning into that and your unique style, trust me, there are clients out there who are going to flock to that. They're going to gravitate to that. And that is exactly what they've been seeking.
Trust is an important word that inherently, using the word salesman or salesperson and trust in the same sentence doesn't compute for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, in sales, you should never use trust before your client does. So the thing is there are certain personality types that if you say the word trust before they've decided that they can trust you, then now it literally is a trigger word for them and they no longer trust you. So one of the things is I believe that you have to earn the right and you have to earn the trust. And when that's been earned, then everything changes, right? And so I really rely on my clients to use the word first. Sort of like, who says I love you first? I don't know, But in the case of sales, you truly do have to earn the right. You have to earn the right to earn your prospect's trust so they become your client, because they're placing their trust in you to buy your product or service, to deliver the outcome, the results, that big thing that they need or want, take away that pain, provide that solution. And so they are giving you that trust, and that's really a gift.
Yeah.
And if you say, if a client, if you say I'm going to earn their trust, and I don't have to ever say that, then you know what? You never have to say it, and you'll earn their trust.
Yeah.
And that will be a it's like when the salesman trust me. You're right. That's like a red flag. It's like, oh, sure. Now here comes, wait till the line shows up next. And the line's going to be untrustworthy. Rochelle?
Yeah. It makes me think about how much sales is incorporated in our entire life. More than even just our jobs. It's literally everything.
Even when you say I love you, there's a sales component in that too.
That's a
Well,
big one. That's the biggest sales component.
well, what we're gonna watch on Netflix with the family that night. I mean, trust me,
Yeah.
sales is everywhere. I would like to add on to that trust thing. One of the things is you can say trust me when you've really truly built that kind of rapport with a client, not
Yeah.
a prospect, but with a client. And there is a crossroads that they have to make a decision. And it's like I would still not use that phrase. I would say, in my best opinion,
Mhm.
this is what I would recommend and why. And so, I mean, there's a way to position that, but that is positioning it from that they trust you. And this is, what I think you should do and why. And then they can still do what they choose. I mean, a classic for me was back in the day, and they'd say, no, I want to use FedEx. We have to have this thing at the show the very next day. And I'd say, well, my best recommendation is we're going to split ship it and send half of it UPS red and half of it FedEx next day air. And one of them will get there for the show. No, we're going to just use FedEx, or we're just going to use UPS, and it wouldn't show up because, like in FedEx, it gets stuck in Memphis with weather.
Yeah.
I never said I told you so, right?
Well, and what you just
but
said
it's
is
like,
words. Communication is
yeah,
so big, and when you do sales, it alters the way that you communicate, which most people think is negative, but it's such a positive thing, right? Because you kind of do it with yourself.
I have to
absolutely.
I have to tell you a real quick story. I worked with a company. They were called Cater Air, and they served airplanes. And they put together the dinners and all the snacks and all that kind of stuff. Well, they were dealing with two food companies, and me and another food company. And the other food company had a policy that they had to be on the truck and had to meet the minimums. And so consequently, when she would call that company because they got outed on something or they ran out of something, that other person would say, well, I can get it to you by Monday. And if it's like a Friday, it's like that means that flights on Friday, Saturday, Sunday aren't going to get it. And because that's a company policy. Well, so she started calling me because I would deliver Friday afternoon rather than just take the afternoon off. And my boss would say, why are you here? And I said, I cater air. And he got it. He knew and stuff. And so eventually I started to gather more of the business and more of a share because I took care of them rather than following company policy. And it got me in trouble from time to time, but you know,
Me too.
the, but at the end of the day, they were my house payment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was it. That became a really big deal. So service is king, and most people don't. No, you have to be a $300 minimum, and you've got to do this, and and that I get it. The companies have to make money, and that's why they do what they do. But service, that's the key.
Yeah.
And then you develop the relationship around service. And is that how you teach folks, or and to do that?
Well, my approach is a little unique. So because I'm really focused on the sales strategy, the place that we really start is understanding the voice of the client. So who's their ideal client? And rather than making assumptions and projecting what you think, it's really getting that love language from the actual clients. So who are they already working with? Going through that process of gathering that information, so we, in their own words, and now analyzing that so that we actually have a real basis for understanding what's motivating the client and what are the emotional triggers, what are the words that they're using, because that's really the foundation for all of the sales, because it's not about us at the end of the day. Like with that account that you're just mentioning, for her, it was like helping her out of a tough spot and a bind so that she could fulfill on their promise as their company. And you were taking care of that for her, right? So one of the things is really, so what are the words that she would probably, that you were dependable, that you would handle things at the last minute, that that reliability, that she trusted that you were going to take care of her and really, cover her hiney, right? I mean, all those things, what was it really mattering to her? So she knew she could call you and rely on that, right? So, but we would need to get that verbiage from our clients. And so when you start with thinking like your client, that leads through everything else. So that leads to what are the discovery questions, what's the follow-up, what's the outreach, I mean, what's when we're getting ready to do the deal points or negotiation, how does that tie in? What really matters to them? When you're executing on the plans, keeping that focus on the client thinking, and your client's thinking as they work with you, it does evolve and change. Everything changes. So you do need to keep your pulse on that, because at the end of the day, sales is really not about you, because it's your client.
No.
It's your client who makes the decision to buy and to continue to work with you.
But
So it's all about them.
every high-powered salesman I've ever met, it's all about me, baby. I got it all going on, baby. I can do this. And by the way, and Lindy, and we need to take our halftime break, but when we come back, I want to ask you, does that mean, are you telling me that the good salesman has to listen to the client? Oh my God, what a novel concept. We'll be right back with Lynn Whitbeck and Brachelle. Her podcast, her website again is
Petite, the number 2, queen.com. Go check it out and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and Brachelle, do you know that we have got another show on Brushwood Media Network called Greatest Vibes Unplugged? Did you know that?
Isn't that so cool? Who said we could do that?
I don't know, but I'm glad they did, because we get to, and it's a lot of fun, and that can be heard at 9 o'clock Eastern every morning, Monday through Friday, and we have great music and great conversation. They tell us we sound like Sonny and Cher, if you know who that is. And then, of course, Positive Talk is on at 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and again at midnight, Monday through Friday. So we're drive time across the United States and drive time in Europe. Okay, enough of that. Lynn Whitbeck is here, and I hope that she was listening to what I said, because listening is a key thing as far as sales go, isn't it?
Yeah, no, a good salesperson is a detective. So, it's so important that we ask the right questions, and that when we ask a question and we get that response, then we ask the next, tell me more, help me understand. Well, I'm curious about that. Or simply, because that second answer is much closer to the truth. And that can really promote the client to start sharing, the prospect to start sharing a lot more information. And so when we understand our client thinking, then it's much easier. It's actually a very good flow to go into what are the questions that we need to be asking, so that you truly can understand, is this a good fit client? Do they need our products or services? What is it going to be like to work with them? Are we going to be able to fix what's wrong or provide the solution? Are we going to be able to fill the need that they have? And then, is this somebody that we want to work with? I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes there are people that you just simply don't want to work with, because they're going to be so much more work They're literally going to be 80% of your work for 20% of the volume. I still remember back in the corporate battle days, I actually had in a contract with one client that they could not swear at us. They could not send us uppercase emails. If they did either, we would, I mean, literally, if we were on a conference call and they raised their voice, they started swearing, that was back in the day when, before Zoom, I would just simply click and we were done. Literally, we were done. And I actually was like, I'm willing to walk away for this multi-million-dollar account because I'm not treating, no one on my team will be treated like this. It's completely inappropriate. And I remember once one call to the president and he said, yeah, well, I'm going to hang up on you next. So the thing is that sometimes there are people that now we literally ended up training them, but it was they had a culture that was just toxic, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things you have to consider and the lessons learned is it really worth it? Life's short, and so I have something I call a no offer offer. If it is not a good fit, when I'm talking to someone, if I get a gut feeling, especially anyone who's a one-call closer, sales is about relationships. It's not about closing the sale like that and moving on. It's about building a long-term relationship. So, but if I have that gut feeling, I do a no offer offer. I point them to a resource, I thank them and I exit gracefully stage left, because at the end of the day, life is simply too short. And nobody on their deathbed is going to say, dang, if only I'd closed that big deal. And if they did, you just figured out what kind of person they were, not somebody I'd want to know.
Yeah. Well, and it teaches you to stand up for yourself too. Stand up for your values, stand up for what you choose to believe in. And if it's not a good fit for somebody, don't push it. Because I've known of many people, especially in the car dealership, they would tell them, well, you're a pushover, go find somewhere else to work. And it's like, why don't you teach them the skills and the confidence to stand tall for themselves and believe in the service that they're selling, so that they can project that forward in a very healthy, happy, and passionate manner? Because on the other side of the greediness, there's the people that they just want to make everybody happy, and they get themselves in quite the tussle too, so I've heard.
Indeed. And that famous one call close generally means that they've been cut off from their current supplier and are looking for a new one and need it today. So always approach that with a cash on the money kind of thing. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Cash in advance. I mean, there are definitely some things that, once again, you should be guided by your intuition and trust your gut. Whenever I have not trusted my gut, it was a mistake. And I would say for women, we have an intuition in some, you've just got to go with that. Because when you don't and you try to force something, it's just always backfires on you.
Yes, it does, very quickly.
That's very good. So, Lynn, I got to ask you, give us a little bit of information about your background. How did you get into this? How did you become so gifted at it and to build the company the way you have?
Well, I started selling when I was selling Girl Scout cookies. Okay. So,
But you have any? I would love to buy some.
Not right now. Haven't been a Girl Scout since high school. So, but I stayed all the way through. When I finished graduate school, I came back. I was working for a small company and I said, I want to go into outside sales. And the owner went, oh man, this is going to be a disaster. But he allowed me to follow him for 2 weeks. I was with him. I shadowed him. And so I started my sales career on April 1st. And in 8 months, I outsold the junior partner who had been selling for 12 months and had been in it for decades. And the next year I outsold the senior partner. And I just never looked back. It's because I approached sales that I really wanted to help and serve people. It wasn't rocket science, but if I could take something off their plate they never had to think about again, and just really took care of them, I was going to be successful. And I was. It made me happy because I was helping them. And it made my clients I had incredibly loyal clients for 25-year relationships because of the level of attention and the service that I provided to them.
And talk about April Fool's for whoever told you weren't capable of that.
Yeah, I definitely surprised him.
I bet
Well,
you
that
did.
that had to feel good.
Mhm.
Well, what was good about it is that I discovered something that I loved. I loved being of service, and I loved making a difference for my clients. And like I said, this wasn't rocket science, but when I took something off someone's plate and they never had to think about it again, that was really a gift because they could move on to other things that they needed to take care of in their role. And
Yeah.
so, sales has always been something I love. I love sales. It is the way that we help and serve. It's how we create impact for the businesses, the solutions that we provide, and for those individuals. But no matter what it is that you're doing, um, uh, there you are able to create real impact in the lives of our clients.
Yeah, I gotta ask you because there is one concept in sales that everybody hates, and that's the horrible cold call, walking into a place you've never been before and then trying to strike up a conversation. How do you teach people to do that effectively?
Well, so there's a couple of different things. I mean, I actually built my business on cold calling. So this is back in the day. The key thing is consistency, making the connection, showing up, what's of value, what matters to them. You can't, just cold calling once. Nobody knows you. They have no idea who you are. And today we have so many tools at our disposal. But one of the key things that I still really believe in is networking. And I believe that when we can meet someone face to face as well, I mean, that there's a whole nother level. I'm very active in the Bellevue Chamber. I'm active in eWomen Network, of course, because I'm the Greater Seattle Managing Director. But it's all about making those connections and building the relationships. Because as you do, you get to know people, you get to know their businesses, and things come across all the time where, oh, I literally had one just before this call. I had another managing director call me and she said, who do you know who can help with this for legal and for financial? And I went, oh, I know exactly who. And I literally sent her the contact information so she could give to her organization so that she could pass along who they can talk to get some help with what they were looking for. And so networking is still an incredibly effective way. It's a little bit different than cold calling, but you're building that relationship because when you're cold calling, if you're going to follow that type of process, once again, it's the consistency. A one-hit wonder, that's just not going to happen. I mean, out of a fluke, but showing up consistently and working to build a relationship. You meet someone. I was at another networking event on Tuesday. I met a number of people, and it's following up, making a one-on-one, finding out what they need and what I can help them with.
Yeah.
That giver, go, the go giver, right? If anybody hasn't read the book, please do. That's the same thing as Patrick Lencioni's Getting Naked, which is not a book about getting naked. It's a book about sales, but it's a great read. But it's about giving first, right?
Yep.
Because when we give first and we share always, we actually are lifting one another. And now there's going to be some people who are just takers. You figure that out. And if you keep giving and they're not reciprocating, well, then that wasn't the right person. That's okay. Because you're going to find the people who reciprocate. And then you're building these relationships, and it's a very effective way to build your business.
Well, and when we come back from this break, and Lynn, I need to set this up because I have been doing this a while, and I have, in the course of my career, I've done over 2,700 shows.
Yeah.
And they tell me that that's kind of rare and that there aren't very many like that. So I've decided that I'm going to hire a PR company that is going to work to promote me, the show, and put it out there. So I looked in the yellow pages and I found this company. It's called Burchell LLC, and so Utilizing your expertise when we come back, I would love for you to tell Rochelle LLC, that's her right there, how she could best market and sell me to do TED Talks and to do different things and books and all that kind of stuff. So cool. Can I put you to the test?
Absolutely.
And Rochelle, start taking notes because you may need them. So, and we'll be right back after this real quick book promo. Love, war, and freedom collide in The Girl of Many Crowns. Judith of Francia's story will take you from the heart of royal courts to the chaos of Viking invasions. It's a tale of resilience and courage that proves history is not just written by kings, but by women who dared to choose their own path. The Girl of Many Crowns is available now on Amazon Books, Kindle, Amazon Audiobooks, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Book Baby Bookshop. Don't just read history, experience it. Order your copy today. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Rochelle is dancing over there. That's her. And my name is Kevin. And Lynn Whitbeck is here. And go to her website, Rochelle. And how do they get there?
Yes. Go visit her website, petite2queen.com. And I'd love to put this to the test. I'm going to get us straight up to this because Kevin told me this morning, he called me, he said, I'm ready to break out of my shell. I'm ready to share my talents and to expose myself and to do the things I knew I was capable of doing as he speaks into my soul every day.
I'm not sure that exposing myself is a proper term to use.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But at one point, because I even thought the same thing, I'm like, well, Kevin's got how many shows and he only does this? Like, everybody should know Kevin McDonald. And what would we do if because sometimes there's not a product, sometimes there's not a service. It's you. You are that product. You are that service. This is what I can provide to you. This is what I can bring to the table. As you're coming on Positive Talk Radio with us, you're sharing your knowledge. And that is also worth something. So I'd love to hear your takeaway on what you were thinking.
Okay. So, well, the first thing is I need to understand what is the purpose? So what's the goal? And is there a product or service that's aligned with this so that I have more context?
Okay, the product or service is Positive Talk, or is kmmedia.pro. We have audio and editing and video services, and we create commercials. We do all of our own stuff. But more important than that is the idea that Positive Talk Radio at its core fundamentally is about serving people. It's about getting people to live, think about a different and a better way to live, to have a better life, and the more people who hear the messages and the people like you that come on the show, the bigger impact we can have in the world. And my job, I don't know if you know, but we're kind of in a screwy time right now. But my goal is to make the services and to make our world a better place. And in order to do that, I need a bigger reach, because I firmly believe that more people listen to this show, they would have a better positive impact because of the content of this show. So I need to get that out there. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach, if that makes sense.
Resources really is what it comes down to.
Well, I mean, there's a number of things that you can do, of course, if that's the context. So we're really trying to get more people to listen to the show, to watch the show, to be guests on the show. Am I in the right ballpark?
In the right ballpark. I guess not so much, because we're getting a little we vet everybody, and so because we only want people that can move that process along, like you, which is why, by the way, I hope you were vetted, and I hope that doesn't bother you.
Yeah, it's more based off of the listener, getting people the knowledge and the resource to listen to the show and have the impact in their own life.
Right. So, I mean, obviously when you're doing that, you're attracting and how you're getting people in. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Okay, so one of the things that I would consider doing I'm just going to spitball some different ideas, but you take sort of like the best of the shows and put together an audiobook that you could put out there, especially on a platform like BookFunnel, which costs $250 a year. And you can upload it, and then it can go into the different promotions that are done, and people get it for free. So they get this free audiobook, but they get to be exposed to it, right? They get onto your email. I use the word exposed to. They can say, oh, I want more. I want more of this. This is fabulous. This is what I've been looking for. And so now you get people, they get onto your email list. You start reminding them to be watching the shows. What are some of the things that are upcoming? One of the things about using email as another tool, email normally has a minimum of a 24% engagement because people want to be on your email list, and you make sure that they're welcomed. They go through the whole experience. Well, then how are you getting them to watch the shows, give you reviews, share the shows? You're going to have a much more engaged audience with a really some email audiences can be, they're 60% engagement. And I want to contrast that with social, which at best has a 3% engagement. And they're usually scrolling through it at Instagram at 2 a.m. And Facebook has less than 1% engagement. So where can you get that without spending hordes of money on ads, right? So where can you get that natural fit? So I would do something like that because you're going to attract that audience through using a really set tool. Also with an audiobook, there's more than just Audible. There's like 50 platforms so that you can attract new listeners. And audio listeners are unique because they tend to listen to 30% only listen to audiobooks. They don't actually read books anymore. I don't know. So
Hope you put yourself on mute by accident. There you go.
yeah, there I am. I'm on both. So that's another great way, but you're attracting a whole new audience in a different platform, but it's easy for them then to partake and participate in that audience, and growth of that audience is what you're really trying to achieve. So the other thing is, who are some of the power partners that you could work with?
Maybe a gal by the name of Lynn. Maybe I could.
So who are power partners that you can work with so that to help you get that additional eyes and ears on your content?
Yep.
So, because Kevin, obviously you could also guest on shows. What are shows that are going to be a really important piece of guesting so that you're once again on a different audience and they find out about you? What are some other ways that you can create that? Once again, that networking. I was talking about networking. Yes, there's networking on a local level, but there's also networking on a national level. And so how do you tap into those types of audiences in a way so that people can learn more about you? One of the things too is there's some pretty big events that go on every year with conferences and things like that. What about putting a panel together? And with that highlighting positive talk radio. So the right fit events, trade shows or conferences, so that people are really getting the able to get that uplifting content that they're craving, that they want. They want kindness. They want positive things that they can implement in their lives that will make a difference, that feel good, right? So they don't feel like a sleazy snake. So, so there's a bunch of different tactics. So one of the things that you always look at when you're creating a master sales strategy is what's going to be the ideal fit for your clients, your ideal clients. What feels natural to you, feels right, and what's a good fit for your product or service. And that's almost like putting those 3 circles together and what's that sweet spot, because there's lots of different ways you can go. But
you muted yourself again. There you go.
sorry about that, everybody. See, I'm a real human being. Woohoo! It's not. So, and that's one of the things too, is that humanness. people crave more than ever to know that it's that human. So I think that putting those pieces together, that's what I would recommend. And then how do you execute on that? What's the low-hanging fruit? What's going to get you the biggest bang, the quickest? I usually go in with my clients and work like triage on a battlefield, to be honest. What's the one thing that we can do right now that's going to turn things around and bring more sales in the door in 30 days?
Yep. And that's all part of it. And thank you for that, because I think Rochelle quit suddenly. I don't know.
Well, Rochelle, it was wonderful.
She lost her connection, and I'm hopeful that she's going to get it back in the next 4 minutes and 50 seconds. But Lynn, I want to thank you so much for being here. And if you go to her website, which is
PetiteToQueen.com, I would recommend that you go to get the sales strategy checklist. So that's Petite to Queen.
Somehow I lost you. I lost your video, or I lost your audio. Can you hear me, Lynn? Oh, you're on mute. There. I don't know what happened. So I lost her audio.
Well, there we are.
Oh, there you are.
Just lots of technical. And once again, it's a real human being.
Well, you know what? That's the thing about what I do, and in working with everyone that I work with, is that it's real and it's honest, and we try and promote great things. And by the way, I want to promote you again, PetiteToQueen.com, and we're going to run out of time, Lynn, and I want to thank you for doing that. That blueprint is great for everybody as a way of promoting their business. But I got to tell you, contact her if you are an entrepreneur and you got a great chocolate chip cookie, but you have no idea how to get that chocolate chip cookie out into the world. She can help you formulate a plan to get that done. Am I right in that? Are you still there, Lynn?
I'm just trying to hear, because my sound totally went out.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I was just saying, if you're an entrepreneur,
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Kevin. That's what the thing, live stuff. We get technical glitches, right? It happens.
That's half the thing, and that makes it really work for all of us. So your website again is. Your website again is Petite2, and that's the number 2, Queen.com. And Lynn, can you hear me? I think we've run out of time. But Lynn, thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. And we lost Rochelle too. That's kind of weird. And anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a great day. And thank you, Lynn, for being here. And again, her website is PetiteToQueen.com. And thank you so much, Lynn. And you have an outstanding day. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.